I mulled over so many different titles for this video so I could do Iron-Blooded Orphans justice, but I am just one man, and I don't think many people could do that. Some of the titles I thought of include IBO is art, IBO is magnificent, IBO is perfect, IBO is the best Mobile Suit Gundam, which it is, but all of those are true. This video is gonna be all over the place, so buckle up.
Has a scowl. It kind of looks like him.
The term White Devil is tossed around in all sorts of different contexts, but in the context of Gundam, it is a beast, a violent, unfeeling monster that cannot and will not be reasoned with, a clad in white entity of hatred that kills and maims without quarrel, or even a first, let alone a second thought. An ephemeral being of hatred and instinct. These claims in context of Gundam, excluding IBO, are completely stupid. The White Devil they talk about is a gutless, dickless 14-year-old boy in a cockpit of a robot, but in Iron-Blooded Orphans, the term devil fits Barbatos perfectly. So perfectly it's scary. But I ask you, how much of the beast is Barbatos, and how much of the beast is Mikazuki? I ask you, where does the monster end and the scared teenager clawing his way through an army of enemies just for a gleaming hope of joy in his life begin? I tell you wholeheartedly that Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans is a story of loss, but also of perseverance, and above all, wanting. The wanting for a better life, the wanting for love, the wanting for freedom, etc. But where does the want turn to need? And I found what I have. I have a need. I need you to watch Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. You have my word that you will not regret it. Just to double down on the humanization of the characters, they do stupid shit. For instance, in episode 15, Master Eok in his stupidity kills the people we've come to love just to selfishly satisfy his ego and reassure himself that he is alive for a reason and his men didn't sacrifice themselves for nothing. It's interesting creatures we are. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Amazing how we can justify the things we can do to another just when we don't know their name. On the opposite side, we as humans have the ability to love. And we use this ability in odd and erratic ways. Take the turbans, for instance.
I'll show you the most brilliant light you've ever seen.
That's dealt with, so let's focus on that assault ship. Master Eok! Huh? I see you, Amitav.
Speaking of Naze, he is one of the best characters in the entire show. He's most reminiscent of that of Giving Tree. He gives and gives and gives and gives, and what does he get in return? Not that much, but so much more in the grand scheme of things. You'd expect him, with all his elaborate trade routes and mafia connections. He did get Tekkadan on the map. He gave all he had to Orga.
Sorry, brother.
It wasn't just a stepping stone, but a thematic element building block to the two stories happening side by side. That being Orga's and Mikazuki's. You'd think that he'd be repaid in materialistic things, but no. He's repaid in the most coveted thing of all. Not fame, not money, not status. He was repaid with true love. True, unadulterated love. And it goes in his final moments, when the enemy closes in on all sides, and death slowly creeps in. He breaks a cycle that has haunted man for eons.
I see you, Amitav.
He doesn't die alone. The arms of the woman he loves more than life itself. And that is just so fucking beautiful.
Women are the sun, you know. And if the sun doesn't keep shining its light, we men will wither and die. Always Please smile for me, Amida. Strongly, boldly, flash your brilliant smile. If you can do that for me, I promise you, I'll be able to keep my head up at all times. As long as I bask in your sunlight, I can.
If you'll let me level with you, I needed to stop watching Iron-Blooded Orphans so I could finish this video, because every time I watch it, dozens of more talking points and thematic narratives to deconstruct. So for the sake of everyone's time, I'm going to put the show on hold so I can get this video out. So with that, onto the music. Like everything in this show, the music is dripping with nuance and subtle foreshadowings. How do you even do that? Well, obviously with the help of music theory. And without getting into it, there are these things called cadences, used to discern moods. And in One Piece, you'll start off with a sad cadence, and then move to a triumphant violin, conveying a feeling of power. More on that later. Every single track conveys the tone perfectly, but doesn't tell you how to feel. It's simply a cherry on top of the emotion that you're already feeling, mainly because most of the OST is violin, giving it this what's gonna happen next type of vibe. But the tracks that stand out deviate heavily, and also lean harder into it than others, just like the human condition. The slow diegetic tones that don't even sound like music fade into the background and add 10 times more emphasis to some of these moments, like when Mikazuki loses half of his body. The subtle metallic groans of the music created by a computer perfectly encapsulate this scene in a 10-layered cake of thematic writing and irony. Mika lost half of his body because he was connected to his mobile suit to get more power out of it. Basically, he was getting more power out of it because the connection was strong enough, and any damage took to the mobile suit was also done to him. This isn't the first time. He lost movement in his right arm and lost sight in his right eye, and now his entire right side is numb. And the layer of irony with the metallic music of this scene, added to the context of Barbatos being named after a demon, makes this scene absolutely perfect, and reinforces the fact that Mika will give up anything and everything to even make deals with the devil to accomplish his goals and fulfill the promise he made to Orga. The lengths he will go to accomplish and acquire the bare human essentials, and what he will give up to fulfill the promise that he made to Orga, is absolutely beautiful. But with all the context I'm giving you about Mikazuki and what he will give up, you may think he's just a loose cannon. But no, he has his limits, he has his boundaries, he has his self-worth, and he knows what he can and will not give up. He doesn't give a shit about himself. He only gives a fuck about Orga and his family. He gives a fuck about Kudelia, Atra, Orga, and Tekkadan. He could give less of a fuck. And that's kinda cool. but at the same time, kind of dumb. Iron-Blooded Orphans is an amazing story because it hits all the amazing notes of an amazing story. It's hard to nail down why you like it. It's hard to nail down each and every theme it's trying to show. It has multiple messages, and it's just plain great. There's so many different messages Iron-Blooded Orphans is trying to convey all at once. War, love, loss, want, working hard. I have a pause every time I try to nail down what I like about this show, because there's just too much and so much here to love. It kind of makes sense now. This show treats you like one of its own. It treats you like a family member. It makes you partake in the suffering. It makes you partake in the revenge. It makes you partake in the payoff. It makes you partake in the actions it makes you partake that your actions have consequences. This show has a cockpit. This is the best way I can describe it. It puts you in the driver's seat, and it lets you watch. It lets you feel. It lets you come with them. It lets you experience what it's like to be a part of Tekkaden. So I ask you, will you join up? It is all come into perspective. I've failed everyone else. They don't understand it, but maybe I can convince you. Maybe fate led you to this video, and maybe it's fate that you will give Iron-Blooded Orphans a fair chance. Iron-Blooded Orphans is not just another anime. It is a memorial. It is a memorial to those who fight like caged beasts.
Rex. I guess it means king. How far should I take this? The Tewaz guys. How far should I go when fighting them?
It's kind of unusual for you to be asking questions, Mika.
Answer it.
Take it to the end. I don't give a damn about our past ties with them. Just remember we're Tekkaden. If all of us are headed the same direction, then we don't need another reason. Crush them all. Do it until there's nothing left but dust.
Got it.
In a show as dark as Iron-Blooded Orphans, it makes you think about stuff, and I've come to admit something. This show is entertaining in the most evil way possible. You see a man be broken down and reduced to nothing but a savage animal, and you laugh and clap as you see him rip apart his enemies. It brings out the worst in you, but also it highlights the best in humans in general. I am frustrated with this show. It makes me mad to see that everyone I show it to, in giddy anticipation of them being able to see its inner workings, is unanimously disinterested. I've tried to dumb it down and compare it to other things, even throwing out funny buzzwords like how Mikazuki has Black Air Force activity, which he does. But it has come to my attention that IBO is its own beast, and nobody will give it a passing glance because they're too deep in their comfort zone. Their Narutos, their Dragon Balls, their Jujutsu Kaisens. It's all too shallow for me. Not to have a superiority complex, but I just don't understand how this show has gone over people's heads for so long. So let me ask you one final time. Will you stay in the herd where it's safe, where you'll get force-fed the same story every day with no deviation whatsoever, getting drop-fed nothing but good animation and no substance? Or will you take a chance on Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans?
あんたをやっちまえってさ。行くぞバルバトス。ねえ決着ってどうつけるの。どっちかが死ねばいいの。仲間のためにできることをやってるだけだ。今はとりあえずあんたが邪魔だ。女の口からひるむことなく突き進みただあなたのため一人たち欲私 Not for my life 忘れましき恩を受けた今に常に前に我こそが真の守り人 Here we go 目を閉じて
ことを感じる揺るぎない想いは八つ咲きにできない幾個性を築いた礎のごとく To edge 人知れず来る日も来る日を磨き上げ Just love 時を待ち高く
こいつは死んでいいやつだから。話なんてする必要あるの？こいつは鉄火団を裏切った。そして仲間を無駄に死なせた。こいつはもうオルガが望むなら、オルガがやれって言うなら、どんなやつでもやってやるよ。大丈夫、使ってやるからもっとよこせ。あぶねえなあ。ミカ、気がついたのか？大丈夫か？気分はどうだ？どうした？どっか痛めたのか？いや、なんか足が動かない。消えろよ。あなたは確かに強い。それでも私は勝ちます。だからさ、ごちゃごちゃうるさい。前にオルガが言ってた、たどり着いた場所でみんなでバカ笑いしたいって。オルガはもういなくなったけど、俺の中にオルガの言葉がまだ生きている。オルガの命令が生きてるなら、俺は全力でそれをやる。俺のオルガの命令の邪魔をするやつをどこの誰でも全力で潰す。どこの誰でもだ。分かった。なら死ぬまで生きてる。命令を果たせ。俺たちはもうたどり着いてた。俺たちの本当の居場所だろ。俺が。ああ、そうだな、ミカ。